and your best friend have been planning for months to tackle one of the most challenging underwater caves in China, Judon Cave. Today, you're ready to push your limits. But this bold move traps you in a place with nothing but darkness, horror, and seemingly no way out. What are the odds for a diver to make it out of such a treacherous underwater cave alive? Diving demands serious preparation because one mistake could cost you your life. Different types of underwater dives require specialized training, especially cave diving. Exploring underwater tunnels is a serious challenge, even for the world's top experts. On April 18, 2014, best friends Wang Yuan and Wang Tao decided to push their limits in Judon Cave. They were highly experienced cave divers who had explored caves in several different countries. But Judon Cave, located in China's Guangxi-Zhuang region, was their favorite. This area is home to thousands of miles of underground and underwater cave systems. Despite being remote, adventurers from all over the world come to see what is essentially China's caving mecca. From their first dive in Judon Cave, Yuan and Tao were hooked by the beautiful plants, rock formations, and the massive expanse of tunnels. By 2014, they had already performed 15 dives at the cave's north entry point. Their plan for that day was ambitious. They wanted to descend to the furthest depth they had ever gone, aiming to break their personal records. Yuan had over 400 dives under his belt, while Tao had more than 200. Their goal was to reach 525 feet, extend the guide rope another 33 feet, and make it the deepest dive they had ever done. This required them to leave the main guide rope for a period of time. Portions of any cave can look similar, making it easy to get turned around, especially with limited visibility. This makes the guide rope crucial in cave diving to help divers maintain direction. To prepare for the record dive, they meticulously planned for months. They ensured they had the right amount of breathing gas and mixtures. Diving as deep as they planned must be perfect. At sea level, most of the air we breathe is nitrogen, safe to breathe underwater to about 100 feet. Deeper, the pressure causes nitrogen to enter the bloodstream faster, creating a narcotic effect. To counter this, divers breathe gas mixtures with less nitrogen. Beyond 217 feet, oxygen becomes toxic, so divers add helium to the mix instead of more oxygen. For such a deep dive, divers switch tanks with different mixtures to avoid nitrogen narcosis and oxygen toxicity. 1 month before the dive, French cave diver Pascal Bernabé extended the guide rope to 525 feet. He claimed to have broken the record for the deepest dive using a self-contained breathing apparatus, although it wasn't officially recognized. Yuan saw this as a learning opportunity and met with Pascal to figure out a decompression plan. Pascal advised Yuan to plan for high-pressure nervous syndrome, HPNS, a condition caused by breathing too much helium at depths greater than 500 feet. Symptoms include tremors, shaking, drowsiness, and heart rate changes. Yuan then planned a practice dive in the Philippines to reach close to 500 feet in known water, but Tao couldn't join due to work. Yuan's practice dive went smoothly, so he finalized their plan in China. On April 17th, Yuan, Tao, and support diver Zhou Pei staged over 20 gas cylinders with various mixtures at appropriate depths. Their estimated time from the surface to the target depth was 20 minutes, with a few minutes at 557 feet before ascending. Yuan and Pascal's decompression plan included 3 hours and 50 minutes of stops. On April 17th, they noticed visibility inside Judon North was reduced due to continuous rain. Usually visibility can be 50 feet, but they had about 6.5 feet. Despite this, they decided it was still safe to dive as they were familiar with the cave and guide rope. The next day, everything was ready. Yuan and Tao stood at the cave entrance, prepared for their record-breaking dive. Pei stayed near the surface for support. As planned, Yuan kept them on the guide rope, while Tao fixed arrows to point towards the cave's entrance. Several minutes later, at 393 feet, they stopped to check in. Yuan signaled Tao if he was ready to descend further, and Tao agreed. At 538 feet, Yuan felt his consciousness slipping. They needed to ascend to reverse the symptoms. They were only 13 feet past the guide rope, but couldn't see it. Yuan led them back to where it should have been, but the guide rope was gone. They felt their way along the cave wall and miraculously found the rope, feeling immense relief. However, Yuan's cylinder was nearly empty, so he switched to his main tank. By 393 feet, he started trembling. They needed to reach the staged tanks 150 feet up. Tao was stuck under a rock due to low visibility. Yuan freed him and shared his reserve respirator. Now they had 3 to 4 minutes of air for both. Tao was fatigued, and Yuan pulled him while holding the guide rope. They were 300 feet from the surface, with enough gas for one diver to reach 130 feet. Tao then floated up past Yuan unconscious. Yuan couldn't see Tao in the low visibility. With heavy eyes, Yuan reached the next tanks at 246 feet. After switching to a decompression mixture, he resumed searching for Tao. His condition worsened as the tank was nearly empty. He ascended to 187 feet for another tank, despite it being unsafe for deeper use. He descended to nearly 300 feet, but couldn't find Tao. Losing hope, Yuan thought about giving up, but managed to ascend to 170 feet. Knowing Tao was lost, Yuan made quick decompression stops and surfaced where Pei waited. Pei saw Yuan, but no Tao. Yuan signaled Tao was gone, and Pei, in disbelief, rushed to search for Tao. In the end, the treacherous dive in Judon Cave proved fatal for Tao, despite meticulous planning and precautions. Yuan's survival was a miracle, but the loss of his friend marked the tragic end of their record-breaking attempt. This is the end of the story. Remember to subscribe and leave a like to show some love, and keep up with our latest videos.